NerdandSon.
Welcome, everybody, to the NerdandSon podcast. I am Nerd. I am Ralph.
I am Connor. I am Son. Respect and enjoy the peace.
Alright, so today we are actually going to start us a little series we were talking about and just trying to have a little fun with. So we'll see how this plays out. But I was talking to you earlier, and we wanted to do basically different biomes. We want to do winter, forest, water, different
like
biomes. Yes.
Yep.
That way we can talk about different encounters, different way we can have things that go on, climates, hazards, whatnot, and kind of go in a little bit detail, gives different ideas of what you can do in those areas and kind of describe those areas, because there's a lot of areas I found that you kind of take advantage or kind of take for granted, so to say, and other ones that you would avoid because you may not know how to run them, or you're not comfortable with that, or not having the right ideas. So, because it is different, because the biome is actually a challenge in and of itself sometimes. So, okay. Yep. Now, the first one that we were going to start with was the forest, your green biome. Yep.
Where you get this is where you start out. You punch your oak wood. This is where you get your oak wood planks. And this is generally when you think of the basics. This is where you generally think of your standard, where you get your wolves will spawn here, and you can occasionally find cows and sheep, but it's not as often as in the plains.
I know. I mean, it's very cut and dry in your Warcraft. I really know that. In your WoW, yes. You find your cows roaming through your woods and randomly, and your wolves. And
I was talking about Minecraft. Wrong craft.
Oh, you're a Minecraft. Okay, I'm sorry. Wrong craft. We got the craft right. Okay. But we're going to start off with the green biome, the forest encounters. And I will start off because there is a difference in here. I kind of got this separated that we'll talk about, which is going to be forests, jungles, plains, and woods. And when I was going through this and everything, I was like, really, there's a difference between woods and forests? And honestly, there is.
Okay, what is it?
Basically, a forest is going to be just a naturally grown area that hasn't had any outside influences into it, so it's all natural, wild. A forest is going to be really adjusted by man itself. Basically, it's been shaped by harvesting and also fire, so it's not as thick.
Okay, so woods is not touched. And
No. Forest is not touched.
Forest is not touched. Woods are.
And so woods are.
So now there's no such. So in this day and age, there's no such thing as forest.
I don't know. When I was going through these biomes and everything like that, it kind of made sense the way it was being described. But yeah, that was kind of what the difference is on that. And I was like, that's actually kind of interesting. And then when I started getting into the environments, the creatures, how you could have encounters, a thick forest is going to be very much different encounter than you are just in your regular light woods. So it actually ended up being kind of interesting. So, but we're going to go ahead and start off in the forest area, and kind of wanted to talk about climate.
Okay.
And we're going to do this based on a role-playing aspect in a fantasy world, because if you have a forest area,
absolutely,
it really doesn't change. You're not really going to get seasons. It's kind of always stays the same.
Because this is when you talk about the genericest of generic fantasy, it happens in woods, and it happens in, in like spring, like late spring, early summer, and that's like when you think that's how it always is.
Yeah, that's just the standard setting, so they kind of take that for granted. You can get some games will kind of be seasonal. You might get some cold breeze or things like that, but other than that, it pretty much stays the same. So when you're thinking,
those are changes from the generic. This is baseline. We start out, it is here. Before anything else is said, you're setting here.
Yes, yeah. So when you're thinking that the elves are prancing through the woods or anything else like that, this is what your standard setting is. And this is, honestly, when I was looking back at the game stuff like that, 90% of what games are set in.
Yeah.
You can go into different environments underground or anything like that, but the majority of it's all the same. So now, just based off that, what kind of hazards can you get into force? So storms, okay?
Yep.
Bad storms, hail, wind especially, because that could actually play a part in your game. So, like, for example, if you got the Band of Adventures and you're traveling through a forest and trying to get to another village, and the wind's strong, it's blowing down huge trees in your path. It can actually get lost during the whole travel aspect. So that could be an aspect that you play during your game on there. So that could kind of make things a little differently, because you're going to have stuff flying through the air and smack you or hit you or whatever. Storms, same thing. You can have just a torrential rain, downpours. With that too, you can have flash floods. So you can kind of create that, having them needing to like cross a basic creek, but because of the rainstorms that's happening just a little bit north, all of a sudden that water is flowing, and that causes a huge issue on that. An interesting one that I also thought about, especially with the storms, is just picturing it, big lightning bolts coming down, striking a tree next to a party. Just kind of changing like the atmospheric mood, where the tree falls over and that actually starts a fire. And you're surrounded by kindling and wood and stuff like that. What are the players going to do if it starts like a fire? And where are you supposed to go? What are you supposed to do? So those to me would be kind of fun hazards kind of thrown in there. Especially for like in the forest. I mean, you can kind of play with these hazards in a couple different biomes, but these are the main ones that actually came to mind. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's, you have as far as hazards go, those are your main ones in that in this environment. Yeah,
and I'm talking more environmental hazards. I think different encounters, like for example, you got thieves, a rogue band, or something like that. That'd be something as an encounter. I'm just talking about more of just environmental hazards at this particular point. So
absolutely.
So now the other thing is kind of interesting in forest, depending on how thick it is or whatnot, is your different plants and flora of what's going on. And I was thinking especially since we're talking about this, yesterday I took your grandfather to see Godzilla vs. Kong.
Oh, I went and saw that yesterday too.
Yeah, brand new one. So with that too, well, you know what I'm talking about then too. You have the giant plant that ate that guy. Spoiler, sorry. Depending on how thick the forest is, you can actually have man-eating plants. You can have other things that they have to traverse around and whatnot. So you can kind of make it very, very interesting. So you can deviate from what you're used to, like locally if you're taking a hike or something. Add different things like that.
Real quick, off topic. I was a little upset at that movie.
Oh, please tell me you didn't go into it because you want a good story.
I wanted, because in the promotional material, did you see any of the promotional material for it?
Some.
They had Godzilla with wings, and they had King Kong with like big, like his fingers were like kind of feathery and like he was flying. And like that was in the promotional material for the movie. I was expecting it.
I never saw anything like that. I would be very interested in you actually tell me what you're going to do. I mean, seeing that. I mean, they were very well. I mean, we're spoiling the hell out of this if anybody says anything, so I got to try to not say anything.
I mean, it's not too much of it. It's not too, like, it's not.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that.
Right, hang on. Hi, let me find this. I swear, like I literally saw this in like a Target.
Really?
And like on shorts and stuff.
I have never seen anything like that at all.
Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So, but just for a big Titan beat 'em up, that is exactly what I wanted. So, I mean, I grew up watching the Shin Godzillas when they came out in the 80s and the earlier ones from the 60s and stuff, and you'd wait the entire dub dialogue movie just for one fight. You might got something in the middle, just like a short, like a teaser fight, but yeah. It's nice to have something that is all movie.
Welcome back. That was quite the detour that we took. We didn't find the dumb picture of King Kong that I remember seeing, but we did find the Godzilla one. And now that I know that it's not in the movie, after I saw it, because I had seen it for a second. I went, "Huh, that's interesting," and I didn't look anything further into it. So it had to have been a fan like design.
Oh no, but you sent me the picture in Discord, so I'll go ahead. I'll post it up here without a problem. But yeah, it is. We're actually recording this on Easter, and we went one hell of a rabbit hole there. So okay, there we go.
That's good.
Hey,
that's good.
Yeah. That's probably one of the better dad jokes, but still bad. But oh well. Okay, so we were talking about the plants and flora.
Yes,
and
flora.
We can go ahead. We can go to the next section. We can just talk about animals.
Yep. Wolves.
Here.
Bears. Squirrels.
The bears.
Bulls. Did
you say squirrels?
Squirrels, yeah.
Oh, it's Easter.
Woods? Yeah.
It's a rabbit. It's we get some Monty Python going right there. Big old feet like there.
Speaking of Monty Python, set in a forest biome.
There you go. See, look at that. Bring that back around. Ain't that wonderful?
Bring it back around.
But no, animals, you can pretty much set anything. Just typical of what you think from fantasy creatures. Yep. Yeah, this is a very, very basic.
Now, well, I mean, it's basic for us, right? We are coming from, like, culturally, you have to think about, we're coming from, right, we are European, of European descent, and we grew up in the Midwest. This is our default. This might not be the default for other people, but, you know, since this is, you know, we're talking about fantasy and role-playing fantasy, this is the cultural lens that we are looking at this, right? This is the default because the people who were writing fantasy and how we have gotten the that we have pulled, you know, the fantasy that the authors and writers that have pulled from, and the inspiration they took, and then the writers who took inspiration from them, and then we who are taking inspiration from those writers. It was medieval fantasy, right? And
yes.
And European folklore.
Yes.
Where we get a lot of this.
Exactly.
So that is why when we look at where this is the default, that is why this is the default, right? And because we grew up in a woodland environment, it is the default for us because that's what we know.
Right. So if we have an Inuit out there that is listening to us, please reach out and we can discuss your biome, which would be a little bit different.
You know, next week. Which actually,
yes.
For the next episode, I have something to say about that because I found out an interesting thing about that.
Oh, okay. That is cool.
Cultures.
That gives you kind of a hint of what we're going to be talking about for next episode. Awesome. Okay, so let's just go over some basic encounters. And I just put a couple here, but there's so many. All your standard encounters. Rescuing village on fire is an encounter. You can do that. You got your standard roaming bandits.
Yep.
Also, you got your war parties. You got goblin. You got orcs. You got kobolds.
Yep. If we're talking encounters, I pulled it out. I pulled it out for
okay.
we were planning on doing 2 episodes today, but I had this set up for next one. It's page 90. It starts on page 92 of Xanathar's guide. And it starts with Arctic encounters. But you can go to flip a couple pages to it starts on let's go 5 to 10. So it starts on page 97 of Xanathar's guide, and it's forest encounters.
Yep.
Right? And this is in, D100 form. But let's look at some fun ones. 1 badger or 1d4 poisonous snakes. That's interesting.
Yes.
Let's see.
Can you get a poisonous badger?
Ooh. We might have to check this.
With snakes on his head, like a Medusa badger.
Ooh, a Medusa badger.
Yeah, but you talk about just through your random tables and everything, especially if you are looking for just a basic encounter. You're like, okay, we are going to do a hex crawl and we're going from point A to point B. What kind of encounters can I have in a woodland area?
Bingo.
You can actually go online and just look up random forest creature table. And there is hundreds of them out here, and just roleplay it, and just type it in, and it'll just give you a standard creature encounter. You can have them set up for forest, you can have them set up for a different biome, you can have them D&D specific. There's a ton of different things, so... Or just use what you think that the party might actually have, because honestly, you have a bear encounter. Bears can actually be very hard, and it's very common. So,
what's the numbers? Actually, there's a fun statistic I like to look at.
What, the number of bears in America?
No.
Okay, because you'd have to really define if you're talking about the actual creature or people that define themselves.
Yes.
Okay.
It looks like okay, so it's higher than it's lower than I thought, actually. So 6% of Americans think they could beat a grizzly bear in a fight.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Have you ever had I don't think you've ever had this discussion. I have gotten into this discussion before with someone who thinks that they could fight. Who thinks they could fight a grizzly bear. You can't talk them out of it. They think they can do it. Because we were, I was on watch one time, and we were discussing. We were discussing what is the smallest animal, what's the largest animal you think that you could take hand to hand, 1-on-1, right?
Okay.
Dad, what do you think?
Oh, you're asking
hand to hand, nothing. What do you think you could take?
I have no idea. It depends on the situation.
Mm-hmm. Nope. This is. There's nothing else. Hand to hand. It's got its thing. You got your hands.
Okay. I feel comfortable enough to take out a dog. Might be able to take out a wolf. Depends.
No, absolutely not.
Depends on what type of wolf.
The size of a wolf. Well, no, just a wolf is just generally like you got like your largest dogs, and then a step up is a wolf, right?
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm thinking and stuff.
I said the best I could do was a medium-sized dog, right? Okay. And I'm not walking away unscathed.
Oh no, not at all.
Yeah.
Have you seen the videos where you get these cats that attack these people coming in to watch them? The cats alone will tear you up.
Yeah, absolutely. And like if you're, it's.
Yeah.
And then you have people who think they can take a grizzly bear, and it's no.
Oh, I mean, we're talking about bigger creatures. What's the biggest creature? I was talking about like a dog. But if you go even a little smaller, there's no way that you're going to take out like a raccoon. Those things are just fucking vicious.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're shifty.
Yeah.
They'll throw dirt in your eye.
It's the thumbs. So,
but so you brought up bears. You made me think of that, and just the just this guy was not in shape. He was not he was not like a fighter or anything. He's just a dude off the street who thought he could take a grizzly bear.
Now, did he actually say grizzly or somebody named Grizzly that was just a big hairy man? Because there was a show in the 70s called Grizzly Adams.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a bear.
Yeah. Named Grizzly. I am. Whatever. Okay.
So, Dad, let me teach you a little something. A bear is a large, hairy man.
Yes.
This is what you call,
That's what I was referring to.
Okay, all right.
I said his name was Grizzly.
His name was Grizzly, yeah.
Based off the TV show. See, I'm repeating this from the 70s. From the TV show, the guy was named Grizzly Adams.
Yeah, well, I didn't get I thought you were referencing Grizzly Adams, whoever that guy is. I don't know. I don't watch TV in the 70s.
Okay. So disappointed in you.
We're just going around in circles.
Okay.
Talking about the same thing, thinking the other person isn't thinking about the same thing.
Oh, gosh. Okay. But overall, force, it's a standard force. There's nothing to encounter. I mean, nothing really special or anything. Now, we go into the next section, which I think is a lot more different, and I think adds a lot of, it's basically from what we're used to, a lot more adventurous. And we're going to talk about jungles. Okay?
Absolutely.
Now, go ahead and go into the jungle and talk about the climate. It's just basically overbearing, just so large, so dense, all these vines over you. And depending on where you're at, I mean, the canopy is so thick, you can't even see the light, the sun, the dark. Is that a vine? Is that a huge snake?
As someone who has lived in a kind of like more jungly environment, it's hot. It's hot as hell.
Yes. And one of the things I got for the climate is just overbearing. Just your humidity and heat and pouring and stuff.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh, I'm sweating thinking about it. Ugh.
Right. So, and the other thing is easy to get lost because it's uncharted. A lot of it. And I'm going to go back and reference the Forgotten Realms. So you're talking about Chult. And the big jungle place, and it's just overbearing, kind of chopping your way through things. You got finding lost tribes, lost civilizations. Just your travel alone, especially if you're doing like a hex crawl through the jungle, it's going to take you almost twice as long, depending on how you're set up and everything for it too. So travel would be difficult if you're taking larger vehicles, carts, horses, anything like that. So,
absolutely.
Is it raining all the time? Is it not? Is it just the humidity? I mean, it's just very, very overwhelming. So, and then sometimes it just feels like it's just a never-ending rain. It might not be heavy, but never-ending. But talk about some of the hazards that you can get on that too. And I mentioned one of them real quick: getting lost. Definitely an issue because you don't know what direction you're on.
If you are ever playing a game where the environment is a big deal, getting lost is absolutely like go-to problem the party has to solve.
Yes.
Or it can be the start of your adventure that you say. You get lost in the woods and then you have the setup to whatever you have planned that starts because the party's lost.
Yes. And depending on how you're going to do with that, because if you're doing like your survival checks and whatnot, it's going to raise up your difficulty a lot to make sure you're going the right direction and everything like that. And then as a DM, when you're running that game, you got to keep in your mind, okay, they made a left turn at Albuquerque accidentally, and they're heading this direction. And try and describe everything that's going on so you kind of know where they're actually at, but they think they might be in some other place. But directions is a huge thing. Another thing which we're going to go back to movies on this one when I wrote this one in here, is quicksand.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be very, very prevalent in the actual jungle. To be honest with you, I don't know if it is only a jungle hazard or not.
No, it is not. At least I'm pretty sure. But I have been
Our professional opinions.
My professional opinion of somebody who has gotten stuck in like thick, like kind of like sandy, muddy stuff.
Uh-huh.
I lost a shoe.
God bless you.
Because I had to I had to get out of it.
Oh, they're coming for you. I hear them.
Yep.
Alright, where was this at?
This was in Kentucky.
Oh, the jungles of Kentucky.
In the jungles of Kentucky. Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
It looks more watery. Okay, so maybe not.
See, I don't know. The only real reference I have in real world is movies, and that's not really real world.
Yeah. I mean, but hey, it's still a fantasy setting, so you can have it act however you want.
Yeah, I know. It's just quicksand and mud is traumatizing, especially since Atreyu lost his horse. That was the worst time as a child.
Who?
Ah, yeah, that is a reference you did not get. That's from the Neverending Story.
I remember catching glimpses of it when I was a young child, but I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it since then.
So, it's dated, but still good. Very overarching fantasy, very good.
I'm just trying to see.
So,
I'm just trying to see.
Are you looking up quicksand?
I am. Yeah, so it's consists of sand or clay and salt that's become waterlogged.
Ah.
Yeah, so that actually is.
I just know that quicksand is not as deadly as they portray it. Because I mean,
it's you don't like sink into it. It's more of like it's usually not very deep.
Right. So.
How deep is quicksand normally?
Oh.
Let me find out.
I don't know. You're not too quick about this. But okay.
2 to 3 feet deep.
That's enough because apparently you can drown within 3 inches depending on how you land.
Yeah, but like, this is still like you can still walk around.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. You can get up, move it, and everything. So,
but this is a fantasy setting. This is pulp adventure. Quicksand, absolutely. You walk
bottomless.
in and then swoop. Yeah, exactly. It's bottomless, and
is
then you
it
have to grab a vine.
Or is it going to be ever dragging you down slowly?
It's whatever the story needs it, and whatever the fun part is, right? If you have adventurers spread out, and then
it depends. Is this a 2-round quicksand, or is this a 4-round quicksand?
Or is this a you have only a few rounds to deal with to get the person out?
Yes, yes.
And then you grab a vine, you throw it in, and then it turns out to be a snake.
Yes. Because our next hazard talking about is vines, undergrowth, or snakes.
Or snakes.
So, but yeah, just the thickness, the growing of vines, and how they're entangling could actually mess up with a lot of stuff you're trying to do. Hide what you're trying to do, hide landmarks and everything else too, because especially if you go look at some of the videos I have about, like, what is it, Angkor? Wow, I can't think of what the name is now. Where they're constantly Angkor. It's over in India. I think so. Wow, I'm getting my geography all messed up here, so I apologize for that. But basically, they have a whole group of people that's all they do is fight back the force. So that way it's not being overgrown over this entire temple site. And that's what they do constantly fighting it, pushing it back, and everything else too. So because the growth of this jungle just goes so fast. So, and besides the vines and undergrowth, the biggest thing is that we mentioned before too is just the thick canopy, just a no lights, very little light. Trying to traverse, you can't see stars.
Yep.
So it's very, very hard and difficult. So
you gotta do what Bilbo did in The Hobbit, and you gotta climb a tree.
Yeah.
And that's your only option.
Climb up those vines or snakes. And yeah, it depends, because we'll talk about our next session. Plants. You're gonna have a lot more carnivorous plants.
Yep.
Because if you take a look, even in the forest and around this area, you can get pitcher plants, but they are more common and everything in jungles.
Yep.
Areas. So yeah, so you're gonna have.
If you are playing a fantasy adventure in jungles and you don't have a carnivorous plant or quicksand, honestly, I'm gonna be straight up. Okay, we talk about you can do whatever you want, you can do however you want, play however you want.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have quicksand or carnivorous plants, you're doing it wrong. That's simple as.
yes. It's just something. It's just a must. You got to add to the overall environment, and that's just something that comes with it. So,
yep, absolutely.
And then just besides just the carnivorous plants, everything plant life is just larger than normal. Huge, especially when you find a big wetland area inside the jungle. Huge, giant lily pads that these big, giant frogs can sit on. Everything. Big carnivorous toads.
Absolutely.
So.
Everything. It doesn't make it, even if it doesn't make sense for it to, is carnivorous.
Yes, exactly. Because everything is tastier in the jungle. So, But yeah, basically off the plants just being larger, your animals too. They're going to be just completely different. You're going to have things that are going to be a lot more stealthy because everything can eat you in the forest. Yep. So if you start with like cats, like black panthers, things like that, snakes, just because of their camouflage, and get in there, these are just going to be standard creatures. But go ahead. Okay, no, but also too, you're going to have, like we were talking about, the carnivorous frogs, something just huger in there. Man-eating fish, carp, everything else like that too.
Yep. Piranhas.
Exactly, piranhas. That's another must.
And when I think of jungles and I think of like a fantasy, like what you can do with jungles, I think of like the ancient jungles, like before the dinosaurs jungles, when there was so much oxygen in the air that all the plants, and they always show the same millipede. Right? It's always a millipede, and it's always like a 30-foot long millipede.
Yes,
right?
Yes. I know exactly what millipede you're talking about. So yes, they always show that one. Yep. But that's the biggest thing too. So, also in monsters, because you're going to have everything green, you have more oxygen. So if you play it up that way, you're going to have giant dragonflies. You're going to have those giant millipedes, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, man-eating swarms of ants, bugs, beetles, that just cover you and eat you and gone.
I was thinking of animals, and I was thinking what animals would go, like what fantasy creatures would go in here, and I thought of dragons, and then I realized we haven't had an episode about dragons yet.
I think a dragons could be a whole episode on themselves. So
that's what I'm saying. I was like, wow, we haven't even done that. That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, I think we can do something on that too. But speaking of animals, not necessarily dragons, what else do you find in jungles typically? We kind of hinted about it. Dinosaurs.
Absolutely.
Dinosaurs.
Yes. Bingo. Fantasy. Why is that so synonymous? Like every fantasy jungle has dinosaurs.
That's because if you go back to the old books and everything like that, you got your Lost World, and your Lost World was always
you got your
jungle,
Lost World,
and then the jungle was having the dinosaurs.
Hollow Earth, your Lost Continent, they always have dinosaurs.
Yes, it's a must. It's a natural law of things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, honestly, it's because you have an excuse for dinosaurs.
Right.
And honestly, if you've got an excuse for dinosaurs, why not?
Yeah. I mean, unless you have a very dinosaur-centric world, then yeah, there's not a good place for those. But if you're going to do a setting more of a lost world, yeah, dinosaurs would just be prevalent just because that's just neat. That's just fun. Everybody likes dinosaurs. I don't really know a person that doesn't like dinosaurs. There's probably a few out there, but basically being chased by a pack. If
somebody doesn't like dinosaurs, do not converse with them. Cease contact. Just go zero contact with them. They're not worth having in your life. That's just...
Oh, why not? Okay. But with your animals and the encounters, like we were talking about, you got your Lost World setting, so Lost Civilizations kind of really play up that part. Like Hidden Secrets has just been gone for millennia. It's all buried, hidden in the worlds. And you can have fun with that. So, and you can actually
when you have a lost civilization, you have an ancient artifact that's super powerful, which means you have a villain who's trying to get that ancient artifact. Boom, there's your story.
Well, it could be too, and it could not actually be like a PC villain and everything like that. Let's go back, and we'll take from movie references because it's what we do. Let's go back to the movie Congo. Say you have a wild ape, big giant white apes that are roaming through the jungle, and they're collecting this gem that you want and stuff like that. This is their idol that they worship, that you need, that you know is some kind of ancient magical device, but to them it's just something glowing and something they worship. So you could have a big ravenous pack of man-eating giant white apes. So you can do adventures like that, and then that actually kind of creates things. Because if you have an encounter where you're fighting like a pack of apes, you got apes swinging through the trees. So you got them overhead, you got them behind you. They know the forest and the layout. So,
like Shia LaBeouf.
Yes.
Suddenly, you spot him. Shia LaBeouf.
Oh.
He's swinging about 30 feet up.
Yes. But no, it's a very fun environment, especially finding your lost civilization, hunting your ancient artifacts, whispering, especially if you're doing a campaign where you're treasure hunters, or you're doing a campaign where you're set off on a task to locate an item. This would be a very fun place to set that up to go to adventure, because you'll have so many different side encounters and everything else like that. You can actually go and we'll use a Disney movie as a reference here as a thought. Okay? Let's do the Jungle Book. I'm sorry, not Jungle Book. Jungle Cruise. Well, you can do a Jungle Book, but you do the Jungle Cruise. If you've seen the latest Disney one, and you have the pirates, everything that occurs there, say you release them accidentally. So, I'm taking you haven't seen that movie.
Nope.
It's just a fun, enjoyable movie. It didn't say the script was any good, but it's just fun and enjoyable. So, but you could take things like that. Take what you see and use from especially movies. That would be an excellent thing for a jungle adventure, having them fighting the ancient cursed pirates. So, yeah, fun things like that. Yeah. Okay. You got any more comments on jungles or anything?
It's, if you want to look at like things to steal from and things to take like action things from, you have a plethora of classic pulp novels.
Oh yeah.
And like pulp stories. And for anyone who doesn't know, because like it's not a pulp action and pulp fiction gets thrown around a lot, but it doesn't get defined. So they come from the small like dime, like you would get these novels for a dime, and they were real small, and they were printed on just really cheap paper. And so if anything happened to them, they would become pulp, right? And so these cheap books with like just with these just like really like they would pump them out and just like keep it. So they were just really cheap books with just like cheap entertainment, and like that was and that was what that's where you get the pulp novel from, and the pulp fiction, because anything that happened to these books, it would just disintegrate.
Right, and it comes out there too. If you
books.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, if you've ever seen like a used bookstore and you see these old novels and like you can see that they have deteriorated, that is where you're getting it from.
Hold on a second. Let me show you something.
Whoa! No! Wait!
You haven't seen these things.
Nope.
Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about. Oh shit! What have we got here?
We got like the Courtship of Miles Standish. I have about 60 of these little things that I have collected.
Jesus.
And it is old. I don't want to tear it up. That's what I'm trying to do, collect.
Yeah.
And this is... I can't even read it.
Not in frame.
No, it's not. But I don't know if you can actually make that out.
I could make it out for... Oh, okay, interesting. All
okay.
Right.
But this is
can't
just
make that out, but it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's just... let me try to open it up here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Got different penny little...
You've got, like, ancient artifacts there.
Yeah, this stuff is from, I do believe, when I was dating them. Let me see if it got a thing in the front. Hold on.
Oh, no. Ugh. Ew.
Yeah, because I don't even have anything in the front of these telling me exactly what they are date-wise, but I think when I went through and I was looking these up date-wise, these were early 1900, late 1800.
That's crazy. What was that? It was the Courtship of Miles...
Oh, no, it's a series. Each one is a completely different book. I have just what I pulled out here. I got the ballad.
It's a poem from...
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, so you've got a bunch of poems there.
Yeah, and the author was Longfellow. I have another one, Ballad Reading Carol by Oscar Wilde. This one is The Ancient Mariner.
1858.
Yeah, there's this one is called The Ancient Mariner.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And this on the other one I pulled out right here. This is actually a reprint of The Tempest by Shakespeare.
Oh, interesting.
In one of these little books. So yeah. This doesn't have any copyright. This is when they printed books without copyright and first page printings to tell you what run and date of the first publication. These don't even have this. So I have a bunch of these.
It looks like little leather library books. Green. Okay.
Yeah, I'll send you.
Oh, okay, I'm seeing them. Okay, all right.
Yeah, you can find them. And I got about 60 of them right offhand. I'll set that right there. I'll put it up when I'm done. But yeah,
I'm just trying to see when these things come out or came out. Like, these are interesting.
Oh yeah, I got a whole
this is really fucking cool.
Bunch of them up there. Yeah, it's like I want to go through them.
I'm trying to see when these like little leather.
I when I went through it, and it's been a couple years. It was like late 1800, early 1900.
Oh, it looks like
So because there's no
Yeah.
There's some of them that have like a print date on the front of them, and that dates them. I think that started like in the 1920s.
1930s. 1930s, I'm looking at some of these.
Well, I think they started printing the published date in the first run and when the first printing was, or the printing date.
And 20s?
In the 20s. Okay. So in this date's before then.
That's cool. That's really fucking cool.
Uh-huh.
I remember the oldest book I've ever read, it was from the late 40s. And it was a book about the about some of the it was like an account from people who were at the Nagasaki bombing and who lived through that and like their experience. And just telling of that. And it was like a first edition of that. It was like crazy.
You read? Did have. You know what? I don't think I have. Dale, your great grandfather. He was interviewed multiple times because he was getting up there to be one of the last World War II survivors.
Yeah.
And he was interviewed multiple times, and just some of the stories that he told, because he was career Army, and he was a drill sergeant, and he volunteered for World War II, did that, Korea, he did Nam and everything like that, and he's been published in 4 different books, I do believe.
Oh, wow.
I have to go back and pull them because your grandfather has them at his house. So if you're talking about books or anything like that, that's a real... I know we're kind of getting off subject, but yeah, you got that too. Because he only passed...
I guess we got to spin this off into a history podcast.
Well, he only passed, and honestly, I'm not quite 100% sure exactly what his age was. I don't even think my father or your grandfather knows what his actual age was. But but yeah, very, very interesting. He only passed, 4 years ago?
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's crazy.
Very crazy. But so cool. Okay, kind of lost track exactly.
I got the exact. Okay, all right. The little leather library. It was from 1916 to 1923. Okay, I found the actual thing. As far as the episodes go, we're talking about pulp adventure. Okay, we were moving on to woods.
Yeah,
we got done with.
Okay, yeah, because we were talking about ideas for adventures and everything.
Yep.
I love these See, Easter again, rabbit holes. Oh, well. Okay. So the next biome we're going to go into, which is going to be similar to the forest, but this is going to be woods. Okay?
All right.
So if you kind of wanted to separate it out and everything like that, and like I said earlier, woods is different from forest. That is actually, they've been shaped or harvested by man and also shaped by fire. Okay? So it's just not as thick as a forest. So you're going to have your same climates, roughly your same hazards and everything like that.
Yep.
The only thing real different is you're going to have more roads, more paths, more traveled areas.
You have bandits and different things like that.
Yes. And also, too, in this area, because the woods have been shaped by people, you're going to have villages by there. You're going to have cities close by. You're going to have things like that. So you're not going to be as far from civilization as you would if you're in like a deep, dark forest. So that's really what the difference is. Are your plants and animals going to be similar? Yeah, for the most part. I don't think you're going to have as many or be as abundant in these areas just because they don't want to be with man and everything as much. But you still will have like your roaming orc bands, kobolds, goblins, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
gnolls.
Because any kind of monster group or like that is doing like pillaging of the villages are going to be near the villages.
Yes. Exactly. So as for encounters in the wooded area, similar to the forest, but as you're traveling, you're gonna have more raiding, more things to be thieves, banditry, different things like that too. Plus your travel is going to be a lot easier because you will have your paved roads, not paved, but you will have your roads and paths travel through. So yeah, that's really in the forest. There's not that much difference in that too. So, but it depends if you want to set up in your campaign. If you do want to have a difference between you got your light woods and then you have your thick forest. So on that too. I don't know. You got anything else on woods or differences or anything?
No. We already hit forest. It's just like a little bit. It's a little bit. It's just the same thing, but from a different angle. You know.
Yes. So it just depends on what's more wild and what's not. So All right. Now the fourth kind of different biome in here I was trying to have is I put plains.
Yep.
Okay, because it's still a green area for the most part, unless you got like fields of wheat and hay or wheat and barley and stuff like that. The same thing to like your woods and forests. Your climate is going to be mostly temperate. So you have to deal with your rainstorms.
Mm-hmm.
You get your thunder and lightning.
Yep.
If you don't really have much cover, so you're going to be taking the brunt of that when you're traveling.
I will say, you missed one. You missed one, a big one for plains. That's where you get your tornadoes.
Oh, yes.
So,
very good weather hazard and stuff like that when you got your planes. So
I just, off the top of my head, thinking about tornadoes in game, I don't know how you can properly make that work. You know?
I think you can make it work like almost if you are running from it. And let's go back, and I'm going to reference a movie. Let's go back to the movie Twister. And you got them at the end, okay, trying to outrun this thing to hide into a house and stuff like that, trying to figure out how to hold on to something, and they strap themselves to pipes. Okay? To try have like a situation for them where they have to find out how to survive through this encounter. So it becomes more of a survival. What can I do? Yeah.
Okay. And then if they fail and they get sucked into the twister, I
don't know. I mean, they end up in Oz.
And I was literally thinking about that, and I was like, maybe just off the top of my head, maybe like the other party members have to go try to find them, and it turns you into like a different dimension or something, like a mirror dimension or something.
Right.
I don't know, some kind of thing where like now you have separate.
It's a portal to a different plane of air.
Or something, something like that. Who knows?
That's also too. I mean, you could do a classic thing, and we can go back. Like for example, if you go through, you're on a ship. There's a storm. It breaks up, and all of a sudden you wake up on a sandy beach. Okay, same thing. You're in a tornado. You're getting blown around. You get pulled up, sucked up, and everything like that. And all of a sudden, you find yourself laying in a edge of like a real marshy, boggy area because it was soft enough that you landed, but you were knocked out, and now you woke up, and you're like, "Where the hell am I?"
Or you're in a storm, get sucked up by an angry god, and that angry god ends up you get transported like 10,000 years into the future, and that angry god ended up being your father, and you have to protect this one girl that you just met from being you have to take her around the world
in 80 days.
So that she can kill God, and who is your father. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm not getting that reference at all.
That's the plot of Final Fantasy X.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's the one with the stupid water ball, right?
Yep.
Okay. Tell you how long it's ago since I actually played it.
That shit gets weird.
I mean, considering that your main character, the guy you were playing, wasn't even actually real.
You want to hear something crazy that I found out?
What?
The voice actor for Titus. That's the Titus's name. The voice actor for Titus. That is the same voice actor as Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Clone Wars series. That, you want to talk about range? That's range.
Because that wouldn't even place 2 and 2 together on that one at all.
Exactly. You would never be able to.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, it was... I don't remember much of it. I just know it was confusing. I don't know. It was okay.
And who knows? I could be wrong about it.
I don't know. I don't remember it that well. So
I'm half remembering things.
My biggest thing is I realized at the end, I'm going, I played this character and I'm not even real. I'm a figment of this other person's imagination.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I don't remember that.
That's.
But I do remember. It just gets weird.
Yeah.
All those JRPGs just get real weird.
Oh. But yeah. The other thing too is if you got plains and wildlife, you can think of it almost like a savanna. Stampedes.
Yep.
Oh.
You don't think about that. You don't think about that as a hazard when you think about the American plains, but that's because we killed all the buffalo.
Yeah, we took care of that with the buffalo. Yeah.
Yep. And so you got wild horses, you got buffalo out there, but these are fantasy pack animals that you have to deal with. If you are running from a dragon, which don't exist, as previously discussed on this podcast, but if you're running from a supposed dragon, they can see you, and you can't. It's going to be hard to hide.
Yes. And that's one of the things we get the hazards, just not being able to hide. Everything is open.
Yep.
And the things that do hide well because they are made for this actual life. You got that, and you got your lions and your tigers. Not your tiger, but your lions bears and stuff. Oh my. But they just blend in with the vegetation and everything. So it's very, very hard to spot. So you're going to have a lot more ambush creatures in there too. The other thing is you're passing through the plains and you got a big sweeping fire that runs through.
Actually, take that back. I don't think because you have more ambush stuff in the jungle with your snakes and your plants and everything.
Yeah.
But you have shit that's gonna chase you.
Yes.
And it's gonna chase you
because they gotta chase the pack animals and stuff. So yes.
And it's gonna chase you longer than it can fucking longer than you can run.
Yeah, and it's also too. I mean, you can get packs. I mean, not just a regular just herd animals. You can get packs of boars, and boars are tough. Plus, you got things that burrow because of just the open place. You only got all the roots and the trees they have to deal with. So you can get your favorite creature.
My favorite creature, the bullet.
The bullet.
The bullet.
They would run wild in the plains. So yeah.
Bullet.
So tons of different things that you can do on that too. But it also gives you an area, like for example, if you are setting up an encounter where you have a goblin tribe that is trying to move in, you have a way of actually seeing that enemy coming and setting everything up. So you can do your your Wild West setting where you got your Last Stand at the Alamo, or you have what's the movie? Magnificent Seven.
Yep.
So you got your last stand at the village, and you can see all the bandits coming in, so you can prep it, and that would actually be a fun encounter. Have them set up all the traps, everything like that, to spring onto all the NPCs coming in and all the creatures coming to attack. So that could be a really interesting kind of set up and encounter and everything there too. So just trying to expand out. So, and I think if you use some of these biomes and everything to expand out, so you're just not going, we're going from point A to point B, we're going to go down this dungeon, we're going to fight this creature. This expands out exactly how the campaign is and gives you a lot more diversity in what you can do, because there's so many different options out there, and you just have to be willing to go, this is kind of a neat idea, and you just go with it. So that way you're just not doing the stable and same old. So
yep, okay. Absolutely. I know one of my favorite is in the Eberron campaign setting, the plains, because you have the Talenta plains, and you have the halflings from there that ride on dinosaurs like pterodactyls and stuff, and they'll ride on them and swoop down to hunt.
See, that's cool.
You get your barbarian tribes of dinosaur riding halflings.
Yes. See, that's kind of cool. I like that. So, and okay, as a side note, and we're talking about the dinosaurs earlier, there's something I actually want to do in our campaign, playing as a side note, and it's not my original idea. Okay, But Scott Sigler, he's an author I really like. He does the Galactic Football League. I know I'm trying to get you to read some of his books and everything like that. He actually did a side book, okay, that deals with another game and another solar system, but the league is called Dinolicious. And what they did is you had two battling people, but they actually bred dinosaurs to battle. Okay. So you had dinosaur battling to the death and everything like that. And that's kind of what the book is about.
Like in that episode of Love, Death, and Robots.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Which is cool. But yeah, it's basically the same thing. So they got their Dino Riders and Brit and stuff like that. So very, very good series. And yeah, if you don't know who Scott Sigler is, look him up. He actually has a bunch of books, bunch of series and everything like that too. Which
Not
is cool.
Sponsored.
No. Need to sponsor.
Give us money.
Yeah, because I've given him enough money by buying his books and everything. So, but yeah. So I've listened to his podcast for, wow. How long has he been podcasting? 15 plus years?
Mm-hmm.
So after all that, I bought books and stuff. So I figured I would give into a little all his free stuff he gave out there because he was one of the original audio podcasters that were giving away basically their books chapter style for no cost. So it was awesome. So yeah,
what's up with old podcasters being named Scott?
I don't know. Maybe Scott is just one of those names. And you talking about that names. Weird guy that's like 6'4" in Utah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know how tall he was.
He is.
Why do you know that?
He's mentioned it a couple times because I still listen to that show regularly.
I'm
creeping on him.
Guy. Yeah. Stalker.
And if you don't know, we're talking about Scott Johnson. He actually has a podcast called The Morning Stream, Film Sack. Oh my gosh, he has like 6 or 7 different shows that he does. So yeah.
Stuff, a big inspiration on our show.
Yeah, because it's actually very cool. Because I like the way he does things and stuff, I kind of like that too. So yeah, very much so.
This is an anti advertisement, because if you go watch his stuff and you go but listen to his stuff, then you're gonna realize that we don't do it as good, and you're gonna go move to that if you haven't seen that already before this. So don't go look at his stuff, because then you're gonna stop watching our stuff. So see, we're trying to have our anti-advertisements.
Yes, there you go. See, we're trying to have our fan base of people that like to hear people stumble when they talk, say and all the time, and pretend to know what they're talking about.
Because it's real, damn it.
It is real. So,
raw and uncut.
Yes, exactly. So, do you got anything else about the planes?
Boeing is not doing a good job with building them right now.
No, not at all.
And if you want to stay in Boeing's good graces, you need to do a couple things. You need to not stay an extra day when they tell you to stay an extra day. You need to not buy Taco Bell, or at least if you buy Taco Bell, eat it. Okay? And then don't text your family and say that you are fine and that you're not going to kill yourself. And then you're gonna have to bleep that one. And that you do those 3 things, you'll be safe from Boeing. Oh, and don't whistle blow on all the safety regulations that they're not following.
Yeah. All right, well, I appreciate you making me beep that part out that we're going to have to Not post, so we don't get.
Don't do all those things. Don't do all those things, and Boeing will not unalive you in Minecraft.
So all right. Do you got any? Okay, I'm sorry. I was trying to make a joke that you probably wouldn't get, but I was also trying to make a joke about a little man with a white suit going deplane, deplane. But I don't think you would get that.
No, I don't get it.
That's great.
Don't get it.
It's a tattoo from Fantasy Island.
I don't even know what Fantasy Island is.
It's okay. Okay. Do you got anything else on this particular topic?
No, I think we're good. I think it's break time, and then getting into Encounter Corner after that.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and take our break.
Hi guys, if you want to take a break from role-playing and watch someone burn their face off while eating hot peppers, head on over to YouTube at 13 Peppers and like and subscribe. And if you want to grow these peppers yourself, you can actually purchase these seeds at 13peppersbyralph.com. With that, have a good day.
Hi, we are back. Okay, so now we are at the point in our podcast that we are at our Encounter Corner.
Woo!
Okay. So today's letter is G. Can we say G, boys and girls? G stands for Knoll. Which the G silent in that word.
G in the phonetic alphabet is golf.
But yes, so we're going to actually have a creature where the actual letter that we want is going to be silent. Awesome. Okay, so this is actually going to take place in a village. The village is called Knoll Hill. Okay, and it received its name from a final stand, from a band of heroes that was battling a Knoll army on top of a hill. Okay, and they finally defeated the army, and it was the last heroes that was actually left standing. So you can see in my head a pile of bodies, and these four individuals are just standing on top of it, covered in Knoll blood, but they have won out the day. So, and based off that and what happened, a village actually sprang up in that very spot, because this was on top of a small little hill. Okay, so they named the village Knoll Hill. Okay, very kind of cool background name and everything like that. So, now, off in the distance, a little bit past the woods at the edge of the forest. Aha, see what I did there? There is actually a tree. It is a dark tree, okay, that actually has a cavern kind of at the base of the actual tree, okay? And you go down through that base of the tree.
It its roots?
Yes. In between the roots, there's like earthen caverns that are actually all root covered and everything like that you kind of make your way down underneath the tree, okay? Now, underneath the tree at the very bottom, okay, there is a fount, okay, that seems to be kind of bubbling up this blackish liquid that kind of running down, okay? And it seems to be...
Oh, shit, don't tell the U.S. government.
Yeah, so, but this is actually... it seems like it is actually poisoning the earth and everything around it, and everything is growing, okay? Now, this fount was actually put in place by a corrupted wizard who made a pact with a demon lord for exchange of power. Okay? So this is kind of the whole background of the area and everything like that for the encounter. Okay, now, as the encounter goes, you have your players, okay? Basically, what this is just a small village on top of a hill that players are going to make a stop at when they're doing like their hex crawl from point A to point B, okay? So you can kind of place this anywhere, okay? And they make their way to the village just as a stopping point, okay? Now, as they're going and traveling, evening's coming on, and they kind of get like an uneasy sense, like there's like a... When they look off into the distance, there's like a low fog at the edge of the woods and everything off, and it just has just a deep, uneasy feeling about the fog. I mean, no threats or anything you see or anything like that. It's just kind of an uneasy feeling, okay? So they get to the village, okay? And they go into the tavern in the village, and upon talking about the village and tavern, they've said they've not had any instances or any kind of attacks or anything like that, but that fog has just been building over the last couple weeks. Okay, and it just seems to get thicker and thicker. Okay, and there was also a rumor, okay, that one of the maidens in the town actually went out to gather herbs and things like that for what they kind of needed for their poultice and stuff, and she actually saw this huge tree that seemed to be dripping like this black ooze off of its branches and everything like that, which scared her really bad, and she came back to the village.
There's oils in these hills.
So that's kind of the setup and everything like that. You kind of get the rumors, history, and stuff like that, and everything else going on. Okay, now on through the night, before they actually start settling down, the town kind of closes down and everything like that. All of a sudden, they hear some screams from outside. Okay, your players are going to go out to investigate, and what they actually see is skeletal remains dragging themselves out of the ground. Okay, forming into ancient bone knolls or knoll skeletons.
That's
okay. And they're actually rising up, and then they start trying to attack people, villagers in the town, and your group and party have to actually fight them off in different waves at different points. And depending on how the town is set up, you might have to separate the party at different entrances to the actual village. Like if it's on the top of a hill, and it has like 3 different entrances, you might have to actually figure out how to close off a couple entrances, or position people at different ones. I mean, skeletons are not that hard overall, because I think they're a 1/3 CR, if I'm thinking correctly.
Something, I don't know.
But we've already went down enough rabbit holes today. But
because it's Easter.
Exactly. And yeah, a 1/3 hit dice creature and CR is not that tough. But if you have waves of them, that makes a whole big difference. Okay? Yeah, you might be able to mow down 20 of them, but if you have 100 that have risen up and everything like that, that's a whole different scenario. So depending on the way your party is actually set up and you be running your game, you should be able to know what they can and can't do. Make it challenging for them. Don't make it overwhelming, but just make it challenging. Okay, so once they take care of that in the evening, okay, because that's pretty much going to take most of the night, staying up, defeating these things, watching stuff like that. As the sun comes up, basically the villagers want the players to go out and find out the source of this. Okay, so they make their way, hence on the rumor that they heard the night before, to this tree. Okay, and along the way, they can actually encounter animals that's actually been kind of corrupted with that ooze. So you can actually create different creatures with templates with like a demonic ooze template or something on it. Something that kind of makes it just a little bit different and a little bit darker. So they can encounter different creatures. So they can encounter a couple boars, a couple wolves, different things like that. They can actually have like a corrupted ooze little goblin scout or scouts, plural. Yeah. Okay, they run into, but they make their way to the tree. They make their way down into the tree, and you could have them fight off like you could have puzzles and traps. So we can go back to our other one too, where you have your vines coming out, trying to entangle them and whatnot. So they'll fight their way down through this network of mazes underneath the tree to get to where the base is, and they see this font, they see this stuff going on the ground, and they see this wizard that has been corrupted by the demon, and they have to fight off the wizard, take out the wizard, whatever, and destroy the fount. When they destroy the fount, then basically ooze stops leaking out of it, and they can kind of see everything kind of clearing up after that slowly. Now, it's not going to clear up and all of a sudden sun's out and birds shining and stuff like that. It's going to take weeks or months or stuff like that for it to actually all get out, but they can actually see a start of where it's just not happening anymore. And overall, that is actually what your encounter is. And that can take, depending on what you want to do, 1 session, 2 sessions, 3 sessions, depending on how big you actually want to make this.
Yeah, absolutely. This definitely feels like something that could that I know that if I tried to set this up, I would try to set this up as a one night thing, but it would definitely turn into like a 2-3 night.
Yeah, because you can do like the setup. You could have your skeletals battle, because that could take a while depending on how you want to set that up or anything like that. And then the next session can be going looking for the tree and finishing that one up. So yeah, I mean, it all depends on how the players want to react, how big you want to make it, how difficult and whatnot. So so yeah, so that is the encounter I have, and it's called Knoll Hill.
Cool. I like it.
So yeah, because I kind of got all the setup and everything there, but I kind of like describing it and talking about it, kind of giving you more of a picture in your head of what is actually happening, and talking about it and giving something that you can describe to your players, and then you can elaborate on every bit of that part, especially when they're traveling and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of a really base encounter, but yeah, that's something that I have on that.
Hell yeah.
All right.
I like it.
Cool. All right. Do you got anything to add, or?
No, I think this is a very I think this is a really good like start, and then you can spin this up. Maybe the wizard, maybe you don't actually kill the wizard and it becomes a recurring villain. You have that demon. You could this could be a smaller part in a larger scheme to try to come back or like take over the mortal plane or something like that.
Yeah, because I mean, it could be the demon, could be the overall arching big bad, and you're dealing with all the mini bosses like the wizard or whatever's the next section and stuff like that, bringing it together before you can actually get that demon or whatever. So this could be a setup for a campaign along that lines. It really depends on what you actually want to do with it. So lots of possibilities. Okay. So if you don't got anything else, I guess we can go ahead, and this will be the end of this episode here. So
woo! We did it!
Yay!
No, we didn't do it. Viewer, you did it.
Oh, yes. Love it. Okay. So, well, with that, I mean, do you got anything that you wanted to promote or anything that you wanted to do?
Nope. No pluggables.
No pluggables.
Nothing yet. We're gonna, it's gonna be like years in the future, and we're gonna have people who are like coming back to like rewatch some of the stuff, and like whatever happens in the future, whatever kind of things are happening, they'll be able to look back on this and be like, that's crazy. This guy's got nothing. Either that, or I will still, you'll have all these projects and stuff you do, and I will still continue to do nothing online, and it'll be like, damn, you got to start doing nothing early.
Well, speaking of my nothing, I also have another YouTube channel called 13 Peppers.
That's not nothing.
All right. But there I actually taste, eat hot peppers. I am in the middle of my growing season at this point. I have all my seeds started downstairs. I think my final count, I got to recount, because I had a bunch of seeds that I picked up that just did not germinate. So that kind of lowered my overall seed count total. So I got to take a look and recount all my varieties to figure out exactly how many I have. So, because I kept on buying stuff, and it just kept on growing and growing. I mean, it's an addiction. It's a bad addiction, but yeah. But go to that channel if you want to see somebody that's actually going to burn their face off. Yeah, see my face get all red, high blood pressure. It's awesome. But yeah, go see that too. Or you can actually go to my website, which is 13 Peppers by Ralph. There I sell seeds and spices from the peppers and everything that I grow from my own garden and stuff. So
absolutely.
Oh, but with that, the other thing that you can do is you can actually get a hold of us with our link tree. That's actually going to give you a link to all of our social sites for me and Connor, or Connor and I got to be correct here. And where you can actually get a hold of us, and we would love to hear comments that you actually leave for us. So that would be great. But with that...
If you wanted to be correct, it would have been Connor and me.
Okay. Yeah, it's...
Say,
Okay.
If you want to be correct.
Yeah. Okay. With that.
And with that,
I'm Ralph.
Bye.
I am Nerd.
I'm Connor. I'm Son.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. We're professionals.
That wasn't awkward. Professionals.